Super Mario 64 DS is one of my favorite 3D Mario games ever. Aside from the janky controls for the main game, the reason being is because of the wide selection of minigames in the minigame mode, which are unlocked by catching different colored rabbits. I spent countless hours as a kid playing these one by one and trying to surpass my previous high score to no avail. To honor these fantastic minigames, I was feeling nostalgic and decided to rate every single Super Mario 64 DS minigame based on how fun they are, how replayable they are, and how charming they are. With that being said, let's jump right in. Starting off with Wanted, this easily recognizable game gave birth to so many memes back in the day, and for good reason. It's a very straightforward minigame with an easy objective: tap the wanted character from the bottom screen in quick succession to get extra time in the clock. It gets progressively more difficult as you spot the character heads, such as having the wanted blend in with the sea of heads and have to move around and such. This very simple minigame tests your perception and ability to think in a calm and collected manner to locate the correct character on time. I rate Wanted a 95 out of 100 because of its replay value and how it sprouted numerous memes regarding Mario and Luigi. Next is Loves Me? This is a pretty laid-back game, if you can even call it that. You basically just pluck the flower petals from Yoshi's story to determine if your crush loves you or not. It's supposed to be cutesy and makes sense as a Yoshi-themed game. There's no high score, no intense focusing, just a petal plucking simulator, and sometimes that's all you need. I rate Loves Me a 30 out of 100 because it's not really the type of game I would recommend people playing. Next is Hide and Boo Seek. This is a callback to Luigi's Mansion, where you must locate where the Boo is hiding on the bottom screen and use your stylus to light up the darkness within 3 seconds. It gets more and more frantic as you progress, such as having multiple Boos on screen and less time. The sheer panic on my face when trying to locate the Boos and scrubbing the entire screen before time runs out is something I will never ever forget. This is a pretty interesting concept for a minigame and a clever use of the touchscreen. I rate Hide and Boo Seek a 89 out of 100 because of the reference to Luigi's Mansion and how frantic it gets at times. Next is Puzzle Panel. I'm gonna be honest, I have never understood how to play this properly and still don't. The objective is clear and it's to match the bottom panels with the top one, but I don't understand which box to tap to get it to match. I used to just tap at random hoping I picked the right one and never did. This is one of those minigames where I played once and never touched again, due to how confusing it was. I rate Puzzle Panel a 10 out of 100, because unless I learn how to actually do it, I'm never touching this one ever again. Next is Boombox. This is a memory match type of minigame, except you're matching the sound effects from the main game with the corresponding treasure chest. You have to wear earphones to actually play this properly. It's nothing mind-blowing, but it's still a fun little game and a way to appreciate the different sounds for the main game. I also like seeing Mario just flip out every time you got a chest right or wrong. I rate Boombox a 60 out of 100 because it's just a simple memory match game but with sounds. Next is Toxbox Shuffle. Poor Yoshi had to endure massive dizziness from being shuffled inside one of the 3 Tox boxes, and it's up to you to rescue him by picking the box with Yoshi inside. This is a pretty simple game of pick the right box and you win, and the rotations are much faster as you progress. It's a fine game, but not something I will play multiple times. I rate Toxbox Shuffle a 50 out of 100 because it does get kinda repetitive. Next is Which Wiggler. This is a spot the difference type of game where you have to select the wiggler from the bottom with the top one and compare the patterns on their segments. You have to choose quickly as the clock is ticking, and selecting the wrong one will deduct 10 seconds and getting the right one will reward you an extra 5 seconds. This is a little pressuring as the clock is ticking really loudly and it's easy to lose focus. I like this because it forces you to think quickly on your feet and perform under pressure. I rate Which Wiggler a 65 out of 100 because even though it's a cool idea, it's something I would return to for multiple playthroughs. Next is Mix a Mug. This is a homage to the picture panel matching minigame from Super Mario Bros. 3, but with the faces the main 4 this time. The objective is to match the character's face on the top screen with the bottom row. This is a bit challenging and requires a bit of focus, and tends to be difficult for people who struggle to time things correctly. It's a fun idea and it's funny seeing the horrendous results of the character faces meshed with one another like that. I rate Mix a Mug a 59 out of 100 because it's one of those games where I play once, but still funny to see the outcomes. Next is Puzzle Panic. Just like with Puzzle Panel, I don't understand how to play this one, and to make things even more complicated, there's more panels to work with this time. I guess I can see what to do, but I just don't know. I rate Puzzle Panic a 10 out of 100. Next is Mario Slides. This is a game where you must guide Mario to the start safely by drawing alternate paths using your stylus on the bottom screen. I love this game and its frantic fun trying to guide Mario as he's moving and drawing new lines to ensure his safety. He is counting on you after all. It gets more difficult as you progress as he moves faster and faster, and there are less lines to work with. I rate Mario's slides a 90 out of 100 because of how crazy it can get around the 15th to 20th level. Next is Bounce and Pounce. In this game, you control the jumps of 3 Marios simultaneously by tapping them. You're supposed to land on the fly guys to get points, and have to multitask to avoid losing any Marios. This can get really hectic as you're forced to keep an eye on a ton of things at one time. I've always liked this concept and I found myself replaying this repeatedly to beat my previous score. Sometimes the Marios may not align with the fly guys properly, and may be too late to save one of them as they narrowly slip by and fall. I rate Bounce and Pounce a 90 out of 100 because of the amount of multitasking there is to be had, but in a fun way. Next is Sword Explode. This is the ultimate test of skill in organizing and quick reaction times. This, in my opinion, is one of the best minigames in the game. The objective is simple: drag the correct colored bomb to the respective spaces to defuse them. If you let even one bomb into the wrong panel, the game is over. Trying to juggle the bombs while moving at exponential speeds is both anxiety-inducing and exhilarating. I rate Sword Explode a 95 out of 100 because of how crazy it is. I highly recommend playing this one. Next is Trampoline Time. In the midst of the city that never sleeps, contains a bunch of Marios trying to get home. They must jump into the yellow rooms in the construction zone. Your job is to draw trampolines with your stylus to have them bounce into the rooms. They're single use and you have to repeatedly draw multiple trampolines. Have to land in the middle for an extra jumping boost, which is very beneficial. This minigame gets insane because there's like 3 Marios already unlocked, and it's easy to lose track of whose line they wear, and before you know it, the game is already over. This is yet another banger and one of my favorites. I rate Trampoline Time at 90 out of 100 because of the concept alone of having to guide multiple Marios is amusing. Next up is Shuffle Shell. We're taking it to the ice rink this time, and your goal is to carefully hit 5 Koopa shells into the center as closely as possible. You must keep the ice physics in mind. It's a lot harder than it looks, and the strategy here is to bounce each shell so that it bounces to your desired location. Sometimes you may actually hit it harder than you wanted to, and it ends up all over the place, resulting in 0 points. I rate Shuffled Shell a 70 out of 100. Next up is Bounce and Trounce. This is basically the expert version of Bounce and Pounce. What makes this harder is that there are multiple fly guys flying around to mess with Mario, since touching them will instantly cut his jumping power, and you have to tap each Mario again to make them jump. The fly guys are a lot smaller, so landing them is significantly more challenging. The key is to multitask and be wary of where each Mario is going to land, and act accordingly. I rate Bounce and Trounce at 89 out of 100. Up next is Connect the Characters. This is similar to Mario Slides, except this time you're guiding multiple character heads to the proper bodies. The catch this time is that you must draw lines to the appropriate target ahead of time, instead of doing all in one go. This is tricky since you have to keep in mind that each head will follow a line in its path, regardless of where the line is located, so you may accidentally screw yourself over here. I rate Connect the Characters at 85 out of 100. Next is Shell Smash. This is a game where you have to shove 5 shells into the red shells and watch them ricochet all across the screen and points rack up with each shell bumping each other. You can shove the shell as hard as you can, and it's always satisfying to hear the click clacks. It's a pretty simple game but fun nonetheless. I rate Shell Smash a 87 out of 100. Next is Trampoline Terror. This is yet another trampoline game, but this time, you have to guide Mario into the colorful rings to pass the level. This is a little tricky as Mario may not always enter the rings properly, and it's easy to mess up here. It feels a little janky at times, but manageable. I'm not a fan of this one compared to the Fly Guy ones, but it's okay. I rate Trampoline Terror a 70 out of 100. Next is Memory Match. This is the first of many Luigi Casino minigames, and the objective here is simple. As the name implies, you have to match each card with the correct picture to win. You can bet coins to increase your winnings, but lose some when you get incorrect matches. I like this simple memory game as it sharpens your mind slightly as you're forced to keep track of which card contains what. I rate Memory Match at 80 out of 100. Next is Paragon. You must match pairs of cards that are next to each other using a total of 36 cards. This sounds easy, but it's a little difficult as you have to make sure that the cards that match are close together, or else the last few cards won't match and you end up losing. The key is to match cards that are blocking other potential cards that match. It's a pretty fun matching game that is well executed. I rate Paragon at 87 out of 100. Next is Picture Poker. This is basically poker but with Mario pictures. You can bet as many coins as you want. It follows the standard rules of poker, so if you're into that, this is the game for you. There's really nothing more to say except some countries banned this minigame due to the gambling aspect of it. I rate Picture Poker at 80 out of 100. Next is Mushroom Roulette. This is a betting game where you can bet up to 10 coins and place each coin on the color and picture where you think the ball will land. You can maximize your earnings by placing all of your coins on one picture if you're really confident it's gonna land on that specific picture and color. I've always liked the way the roulette spins, but other than that, this is a pretty bare bones minigame. I rate Mushroom Roulette a 60 out of 100. Next is Mario Slot. This is a simple game of slots where you could bet up to 3 coins per roll to maximize your earning potential. I like the reference to the original Super Mario Bros. Artwork and such. Other than that, there's nothing much to say, except that you can see how much each symbol is worth, so you have something to aim for when playing this game. I rate Mario Slot a 59 out of 100. Next is Lucky Stars. This is a game of luck as you have to choose between 2 cards to see which has a higher amount of stars. You can bet as many coins as you want if you're really confident the card you choose is the winning one. This is a very simple game where you have to rely on your instincts to see which card is better. It's a quick pick up and play type of game when you have something else to do in a few minutes. Nothing special, but it's not bad either. I rate Lucky Stars a 60 out of 100. Next is Paragon and On. This is essentially the same thing as Paragon except it's the endless version. So you have to keep matching pairs until there's no more possible matches left and the game is over. This is perfect if you like to keep going without any limitations to test your matching skills. I rate Paragon and On a 70 out of 100. Next is Memory Master. This is the expert version of Memory Match, as you have even more cards to match this time with less room for error. You can bet coins as per usual, and will decrease with each mistake you made. You have to rely on your memory to ensure you do a good job in matching, and getting as many coins as possible. I rate Memory Master as a 75 out of 100. Next is Super Mario Slot. I don't know what the difference is here with Mario Slot, as they look pretty much identical in every way, but it's the same exact thing as the first Slots game, so I rated the same rating. Next is Bob-omb Squad. I love this minigame so much. Your objective this time is to protect the 4 flowers from the parachuting bob-ombs, and hit them with the iron balls by slingshotting them with your stylus. You can combo multiple bombs if you aim just right, and hitting the Lakitu flying around will erase all the bombs on the screen. This is extremely useful for later levels. It gets insanely hectic as there are like 20 of them on screen at the same time, and if you're busy at one side, the other side is riddled with them. They just really hate these flowers for some reason. I rate Bob-omb Squad a 95 out of 100. Next is Snowball Salome. The snowman wants a bigger head, so you must roll a tiny snowball into a bigger one by swiping out repeatedly with your stylus and steer clear of any obstacles in the way. Hitting anything in the way will decrease the size of the snowball, so watch out. You also have to make it to the finish line before the timer runs out, and as your snowball gets bigger, it's easier to make mistakes, so there's that. I rate Snowball Salome a 79 out of 100. Next is Bingo Ball. This is bingo, but with a twist. You have to propel 12 balls into the machine where they drop into one of the 9 number slots. By following the bingo rules, you have to aim for the other numbers to avoid duplicates, and control the launching power by raising and lowering the platform. It's a pretty straightforward game that is kinda fun. I rate Bingo Ball at 65 out of 100. Next is Coin Centration. Warrior demands more money. Your job is to pick as many coin blocks that contains coins in them by observing which blocks hold coins in them from the beginning cutscene. This is tricky, as you have to multitask and keep track of what holds what, because if you choose just one block that has no coins in it, the game is instantly over. This game tests your memory significantly and ability to observe carefully. I like how Warrior-esque this minigame is. I rate Concentration a 68 out of 100. Next is Psych Out. You have to choose one of the 2 cards that best resembles the card at the center that is spinning. If you look carefully, there's a very faint outline of what image it holds, but it may be a trick to fool you, so be careful. I also like how it used a Jolly Roger Bay or Dire Dire Doc's background for this, and the ripple water effect is soothing. I rate Psych Out a 60 out of 100. Next is Slot Shot. This is a combination of slots and pinball, as you have to launch several balls into the machine to score points. Watch out for piranha plants as they will gulp your pinballs in one bite. Hitting the star will activate the slot, and hitting the mushroom in holes will reward extra points. It's really satisfying seeing all the points rack up and balls bouncing around here. Getting the balls into 4 holes will give you another chance to launch again, which gives you even more points to aim for them. I rate Slot Shot a 89 out of 100. Next is Lakitu Launch. This is yet another one of my favorites. Similar to Bob-omb Squad, your objective this time is to launch the spiny shells into baskets held by 4 Lakitus. You have to keep swiping down and catapult them in there so that you can get points. You can choose to launch softly or hard to get the desired trajectory, but you must aim carefully or else you'll just waste more time. This is a simple yet fun game to mess around with. I rate Lakitu Launch at 80 out of 100. Next is Intense Concentration. This is basically the same as the first one, except there are less coins filling in the blocks, which means that there are more empty blocks. The chances of failing are a lot higher as you have to focus even harder this time on which block to choose and what not to choose. At this point, it might as well just be a guessing game. I rate Intense Concentration a 50 out of 100. The last game is Giant Snowball Salome. This is the same as the first one except that it's supposed to be harder. There are penguins on the path this time, and the snowball gets bigger quicker, which makes navigating that much harder. The road is lengthier and it's easy to bump into obstacles in the way. This is a wild ride for the snowball. I rate Giant Snowball Salome a 70 out of 100. That's it for all the minigames for Super Mario 64 DS. Overall, I loved this game growing up, and the minigames were some of the best Nintendo had to offer. These were super charming and had a lot of replay value and such. I found myself diving into these first whenever I booted the game up, and they never got old. I wish newer generations got to experience these in newer Mario games. They don't really do stuff like this anymore, I feel. But anyways, thank you for watching. Which minigame did you like the best? And please like and subscribe for more videos like these.